Hi, welcome to my new video for beginners. Today we're going to draw a street in one-point perspective. Are you ready? Here we go. As always, I start by drawing the horizon line. Make sure the horizon line is straight and parallel to the top and bottom edges of the paper. Okay, this point is the vanishing point in this drawing. As a rule of thumb, the vanishing point should be on the horizon line in one-point perspective. The first step would be to draw the width of the street. No matter what kind of street it is, always start by determining the width, because in the other steps, the buildings will be drawn according to this width. Basically, it'll be your guide. I drew two straight lines here. They start at the vanishing point and end at the bottom right and bottom left corners of the paper. Well, the width of the street is clear. But where is the beginning of the street? I draw a straight line horizontally right here. Yes, this is the beginning of the street. Now I will draw my first building. For this, I draw a straight line here. This line should be parallel to the right and left edges of the paper. Now I draw a straight line from the top point of this line to the vanishing point. I will draw the right side of the first building between these two lines. I draw another straight line here. This line should be parallel to the previous line. Okay, good. The side of the building is done. Now it's time to draw the front. I will draw a rectangle here for the front. That's it. We have drawn the first building. The important thing to note here is that these lines are parallel to the left and right edges of the paper, and these lines are parallel to the top and bottom edges of the paper. The building looks like a cardboard box, right? Yes, exactly. We are going to put these cardboard boxes next to each other along the street. I'll draw a building that's taller than the previous building. This building is taller than the other one. You can't see the top of it because it's outside the paper. There is a gap between the two buildings, but you don't have to draw them like that. You can draw the buildings side by side without any gap. Now I'm going to draw another building behind these buildings. Again, I draw a straight line parallel to the right and left edges of the paper, leaving a space between this line and the other building. Then I draw a straight line from the top point of the line to the vanishing point. Well, the new building will be between these two lines. I'll draw a straight line here, and then I'll connect these two vertical lines. With the two horizontal lines, I complete the building drawing. Okay, now we have three buildings. The most important thing you need to pay attention to here is how the lines are drawn. I mean, as you can see, all these lines are parallel to the right and left edges of the paper. And these lines are parallel to the top and bottom edges of the paper. This is how you should draw the lines of all the buildings along the street. Now I am going to draw another building. There is something I want to show you. Please watch carefully. Again, I draw a straight line, then I add two horizontal lines to it. See the gap here? This gap is for a new street that I will draw here. It connects to our main street. I draw a line from the top point of the perpendicular line to the vanishing point. I do the same as I did in the drawing of the previous buildings. Good. Now the other one. As buildings move away from us, the gap between them becomes invisible. So you have to draw them side by side. Right now, it's time to talk about an important rule of perspective. Objects become smaller as they move away from us. As you can see, buildings get smaller as they get further away from us. Also, buildings are getting narrower. This is why you can't see the details of objects that are far away. I'm not going to draw the buildings in the distance in detail. I will just make a few small touches to show that they are buildings. Okay, that's enough. Well, we finished the left side of the street. Now it's time for the right side. First, I draw a horizontal line from the left corner of the street to the right. Then I draw a vertical line from the point where this line meets the line coming from the vanishing point. Now I make a rectangle by adding lines. Okay, this is the front of the building. I draw a line from the top left corner of the rectangle to the vanishing point. Then I draw a straight line for the side of the building. Now the other building. This building will be shorter than the one next to it. I can only see half of the building. The other half is off the paper. Now the side of the building. Okay, good. I'll start on the new building now. It's going to be a tall building. I want the end point of this building to align with the end point of the building opposite. So I draw a straight line from the end of the building on the opposite side. Then I draw a vertical line for the far corner of the new building. That's it. Now I am drawing a building behind these buildings. Only a small part of it is visible. This building adds depth to the drawing, right? Do you remember this gap here for another street? Okay, let's have the same gap on the right of the street. First, I draw a horizontal line, then a vertical line here for the corner of the next building. As you can see, we now have another street here. Now, using the same rules for the other buildings, I will complete the drawing of the buildings. Now we have a lot of cardboard boxes, right? The easiest and fastest way to draw a street is to draw the height, width, and location of buildings like cardboard boxes. It is now much easier to draw the details of buildings and street. Now it's time to draw the pavements or sidewalks. What you call it is up to you. First, I draw the width of the pavements. To do this, I draw a straight line from the vanishing point. The width of the pavements on a street is generally the same along the street. Don't forget to draw a pavement for the little street here. Now I'm going to add some shading to the sides and back of the buildings. This will make it clear where I'm going to add windows in the next steps. I'm speeding up the video so it won't take too much of your time. Okay, now it's time to turn the cardboard boxes into real buildings. Real buildings should have things like windows, entrances, shops, or stores. First, let's draw the parts where the stores and building entrances will be. The heights of these parts are usually the same. Let's also draw the area where these shops have advertising signs or where the names of the buildings are written. Alright, let's start drawing the windows of the buildings. I'll start with this one. First, I draw something like a frame here. The windows will be inside this frame. Now the front of the building. Okay, now I'm going to divide this frame into pieces like a chessboard. If you find it difficult to draw straight lines, you can use a ruler. Precision is more important in architectural drawings, but if you're just sketching, you may not need a ruler. Maybe you want to go outside and draw some buildings around you. It might be hard to carry a ruler with you and use it, so I suggest you practice drawing straight lines. Okay, do you see these points? I should use these points to draw the floors on the side of the building in the same line. I draw lines starting from points and ending at the vanishing point. We will draw the sides of all the buildings on the street like this. You see, as a rule of perspective, windows get smaller as they move away from us. I'm going to add some detail to the windows. I'll show you how quickly. Drawing details makes your work look more realistic and adds depth. Okay, now the other building. The size and number of windows is up to you. You can draw them using your imagination or by looking at some pictures of buildings on the internet. Good. Next building. I'm going to draw a frame again and put the windows inside it. I always keep the rules of perspective in mind when drawing. If I make a mistake in perspective, my drawing will look weird. You don't need to draw every little detail on objects that are far away. A few soft touches are enough. Okay, the left side is done. Now it's time for the right side of the street. I'll draw the windows on this side using the same rules. I think you know how to draw this side now. I'll speed up the video a little bit so it doesn't take up too much of your time. As you know, there are many things to draw on a street. Buildings, windows, doors, lampposts, traffic lights, pedestrian crossings, etc. If you add cars and people to all of these, the drawing you want to do can become a nightmare. For this reason, if you are going to draw a street for the first time, do not choose to draw a street with many tall buildings like this one. It would be better for you to draw a street with fewer and shorter buildings. If you can draw this street, it means that you are no longer a beginner, but a professional in one-point perspective drawing. As you are experiencing right now, drawing such a street can take a long time. However, if you want to be an artist and are involved in art, you should learn to be patient. Some of your artistic works can take days or even weeks. Anyway, let's put that aside for now. If you get bored while drawing this, take a break. Have a coffee, take a nap, go for a walk, or hang out with your friends. Then come back and pick up where you left off. There is no rule that says you can't quit a drawing before you finish it. The moment you feel that you don't enjoy drawing, stop. Drawing should always be a pleasure, not an obligation. Well, drawing in one-point perspective is very easy as long as you follow some simple rules. When someone mentions about one-point perspective, the first thing that comes to my mind is always the saying, "All roads lead to Rome." Haha. Indeed, in one-point perspective, all lines lead to the vanishing point. If you look at the vanishing point in the drawing, you will see how many lines meet there. Okay, well now I'm going to make a few small touches on the ground floors of the buildings. Normally there would be a lot of detail in this area. Building entrances, shops, stores, cafes, advertising signs, etc. But there's no need for much detail right now. Besides, the size of our paper doesn't allow it anyway. Just make sure what you do doesn't look weird. Okay, that's it. In most of the buildings, we've drawn the windows inside a frame-like thing, right? Now let's add some shading to those frames to give the building some depth. These frames have a thickness, right? Because of the perspective, we can't see the thickness of the frame on some of its edges. When shading, think about what parts of the thickness of these frames you can see from the point where you are looking at the drawing right now. Then shade those parts that you can see. Please watch carefully where I am shading. That's it. The buildings look more realistic now, right? Well, how about drawing a pedestrian crossing to add more realism to our street? To do this, draw lines starting from the vanishing point. Then divide these lines by the width of the pavement. Use a ruler if you want to draw very smoothly. As I said before, there are a lot of details on a street. Street lights, pedestrian crossings, traffic lights, bus stops, kiosks, markets, maybe trees. Drawing all of these is really a very challenging and tiring process. Moreover, if your goal is just to learn one-point perspective and apply it to a street sketch, don't bother with so many details. In the future, when you want to draw a part of any city professionally, add all these details to your drawing. I'm sorry to have taken up so much of your time. I know that time is precious these days. Thank you for your time. I hope it's worth it. Please bear with me a little longer. We're almost there. Okay, let's not forget the traffic lights. Just enough touches to make it clear that these are traffic lights. No detail is needed. Okay, we have finished the drawing. It looks good. Well, let's take a look at what we've done so far. If we check the rules of perspective, we have a horizon line and a vanishing point. Objects are getting smaller as they move away from us. Distance between objects is decreasing. Okay, what about lines? Vertical lines are parallel to the right and left edges of the paper. Horizontal lines are parallel to the top and bottom edges of the paper. All other lines lead to the vanishing point. Now that we've finished the perspective, let's move on to the shading and detailing stage. As you know, the subject of this video is perspective. For this reason, I will not give you detailed information about light and shadow, because shading is a completely different subject. Shading has its own rules and tips. A video should be made just about itself. In this video, I will quickly show you how to do shading so that you can get an idea in your mind. But of course, I have a few tips for you about shading. First of all, since you're a beginner, you don't need to use expensive pencils or papers for your drawings. You're still in the learning process, so an ordinary pencil and paper will do the job. Don't waste your money. Start your drawings with a 2B soft pencil. This way, it will be easy to correct any mistakes you make. Use a 4B or 5B soft pencil for areas or lines that need to be dark in your drawing. For fine details or lines that need to be sharp, you can use a 0.5B pencil. Start shading with soft light touches. Be gentle with the pencil and paper. Darken your lines as you progress through your shading. In short, it is best to shade from light to dark, soft to hard. Please remember, it is easy to darken a light area but difficult to lighten a dark area. Do not add too many dark areas or lines to your drawing. On the other hand, don't make your drawing too light. Over time, you will learn to find the right balance between the two. That's it. What do you think? Thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a nice day. Bye.